Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we unpack information to get to the insights that matter most to you. Today, we're taking a deep dive into sources about maintaining weight for life, specifically looking at excerpts from a book called Living the Thin Life by Elle Marie.
Right, and it's really important to note right up front, the author, she tells us she isn't a medical professional
Yeah.
or, a nutritionist. She's basically a regular person sharing what worked for her, specifically after losing weight and keeping it off for, I think, over 10 years.
Over 10 years, yeah. So this isn't clinical advice. It's more like a personal journey turned into, well, strategies anyone might try.
Exactly. It's one person's perspective.
So our mission today, it isn't about giving you the one-size-fits-all plan. Doesn't exist, probably. It's more about pulling out the key kind of nuggets of wisdom, the practical ideas from her perspective that might help you figure out what could work for you. The main idea we're going to explore is this. Successful weight maintenance, it's not really about following someone else's rigid rules, but more about discovering and, building your own system.
Yeah, let's unpack that. That central theme of personalization. That's really the anchor here, isn't it? Her whole argument is basically everyone's unique. Your body, your life, your personality.
Yeah.
It's all different.
So the same program just won't work for everyone.
Exactly. Doesn't make sense that it would.
Okay, so the insight is, don't look for the answer, look for your answer. You've got to develop your own system.
Through trying stuff out.
Right. Experimentation, see what works, keep that, toss what doesn't fit your life. And these aren't meant to be temporary fixes, right? The goal is building habits, a lifetime way of eating and moving, not just another diet.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And she even says, sometimes you actually need to break the rules, like the conventional diet rules, and make up your own rules based on what actually works for your lifestyle and personality.
That's interesting. Kind of empowering, actually. And she highlights this personal, maybe rule-breaking approach through her own story. She describes herself as, an ordinary middle-aged woman who, like a lot of people, saw the weight kind of gradually creep up.
Yep. The slow creep.
But then she found a way to maintain her weight for over a decade. And she contrasts her experience with her husband's. She calls him Elvis in the book.
Yes, Elvis. He's like the counterpoint in her story. She describes him as being maybe 30 pounds overweight and just having totally different ideas about food and exercise.
Like what?
Well, she shares these little anecdotes, like him eating 3 cookies for breakfast with just a vitamin.
3 cookies and a vitamin.
Okay, or thinking skim milk isn't real milk. Or, having a perception of his own size that doesn't quite match reality. It really highlights how different people's views can be.
It really does. Okay, so if the how is all about personalization, let's dig into the why. Why even bother with maintaining a healthy weight? The sources list quite a few health risks linked to being overweight. Pretty significant ones.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking things like high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, stroke, high cholesterol, high triglycerides. So blood fats, arthritis, even certain types of cancer, gallstones, fatty liver disease. It's a long list.
Yeah, and it can also contribute to stuff like sleep apnea, just feeling tired all the time.
General fatigue.
And here's one I found surprising from a 2007 study mentioned in the source. Increased sensitivity to air pollution.
Really? How so?
Apparently, the study found that people who were overweight or obese had temporary drops in lung function when exposed to pollution levels that didn't seem to affect normal or underweight people.
Huh. That's unexpected. A connection you wouldn't normally make.
Right. But what's really interesting is how the source goes beyond just those clinical health risks for the why.
Yeah, the motivators it lists are super personal, really varied, which kind of reinforces that idea that your reason has to click with you.
Like something simple and relatable, looking good in photos, especially at big life events, weddings, graduations. Those pictures stick around forever.
Totally. Or something maybe deeper, like being there for your family. The author mentions a relative, Dennis C., whose whole motivation is about wanting to enjoy future years, like actively playing with his kids and grandkids.
That's powerful. Increased energy is another big one mentioned. A friend of the author started exercising and just realized how much energy she didn't have before.
That contrast.
Yeah, she contrasts it with seeing people who move kind of slowly, stiffly. And now, for her, simple things like taking extra steps, it feels easy.
And then there's the practical side, like having a never-ending wardrobe, avoiding the cost, and just the sheer frustration of clothes not fitting because your weight keeps bouncing around.
Yeah, definitely. And connected to that is maintaining flexibility, feeling more youthful, regular exercise isn't just about weight, right? It helps you stay flexible, which apparently makes a big difference in how people move as they age.
Yeah, less stiffness. Then there's the investing in yourself angle. If you actually pay for classes or a program, that financial commitment can be a real motivator to stick with it. You want your money's worth.
Makes sense. And simpler things like just enjoying more space,
Yeah.
feeling comfortable on an airplane seat or, a crowded subway.
A little comfort.
And here's another health link. Better memory. A French study, as mentioned, looked at 2,000 middle-aged people, found a link between higher BMI and lower scores on memory tests.
Interesting. So brain health, too.
Seems like it. Role models also come up as motivators.
Right, finding positive ones to kind of emulate. Or even using an old photo of yourself when you felt really fit.
Or the flip side, negative role models. Seeing what you don't want to look like.
Yeah, the source even mentioned some people putting pictures of, like, obese individuals on their fridge as a stark reminder.
Wow, that's direct.
Very direct.
It's interesting, though, that self-discipline or willpower is listed almost last.
Yeah, the author doesn't seem to put much stock in it for the long haul. She feels it rarely works long term.
But acknowledges it might for some.
Yeah, for some, maybe. But it's framed more like a short-term burst, not a sustainable strategy for most people.
So this whole section on motivation, it really drives home that your why has to be personal. It has to mean something to you to keep you going long term.
Exactly. The health stats might get you started, but what keeps you on track is often something, deeper, more unique to your own life.
Okay, so you figured out your personal why. The next step, according to the source, is knowing where you actually stand, objectively.
Right, because perception can be tricky. The author points out some women always feel too heavy no matter what.
And others, like her Elvis example, might be kind of in denial about their size, so you need facts.
And a common tool for that is body mass index, BMI. The source gives the calculation, weight in pounds times 703, then divide that by your height in inches squared.
Okay, let's make that concrete. Say someone is 5'4", that's 64 inches, and weighs 130 pounds.
Right, so you do 130 times 703, which is 91,392. Then you take the height, 64 inches, and square it. 64 times 64 is 4096.
Gotcha. So 91,390 divided by 4096.
Yep. Gives you a BMI of about 22.3, which falls in the healthy range.
That helps. But the source does point out BMI has limits, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It can overestimate body fat if you're really muscular, because muscle weighs more than fat.
Right.
And it might underestimate it in older adults or people who've lost muscle mass. Plus, it's designed for adults, not kids.
So it's a tool, but not the only piece of the puzzle.
Exactly. Healthy weight ranges can also be looked at based on height, frame size. You can measure your wrist for that, and gender.
Good to know. And just for context, there was a 2004 survey mentioned, said 2/3 of U.S. adults were overweight back then, and almost a third were obese. So it gives you a sense of how common this challenge is.
Yeah, it's widespread. Okay, so you've got your why, you've got an objective sense of where you are. Now we get into the practical stuff, starting with food, fueling your body.
And here we go again with that core principle, personalization. Your food plan has to fit your life, your preferences.
This is so crucial. It's not about forcing yourself to eat stuff you hate.
Yeah.
Like, if you despise cabbage, the cabbage soup diet is obviously not going to work for you long term.
Right. And if you love chocolate, the idea isn't necessarily banning it forever, because that just creates cravings.
Yeah, it's about figuring out how to fit it in moderation,
Yeah.
within your overall plan.
Okay, so how do you figure out that plan? The book offers some tools, right? Like estimating calorie needs.
Yeah, give some rough guidelines for maintenance based on activity level. Like if you're sedentary, maybe your weight in pounds times 13 calories per day.
Moderately active.
Maybe weight times 15. Very active would be weight times 17 to 19. These are just estimates, starting points.
And similar guidelines for fat grams, aiming for under 30% of calories from fat.
Right. Sedentary might be weight times 0.4 grams of fat, moderately active weight times 0.5, very active weight times maybe 0.57 to 0.63. Again, ballpark figures.
Gives you a sense of quantity, but the quality of the food matters too, obviously.
Oh, absolutely, which is why the source really warns against fad diets. It lists some wild historical examples, like the cigarette diet. Its slogan was literally, reach for a lucky instead of a sweet.
Wow. Seriously.
Or the Fletcher diet, where you had to chew food 32 times then, spit it out. And the dangerous last chance diet, liquid protein made from, like, slaughterhouse leftovers.
Okay, point taken. Extreme quick fix diets are probably not the way to go.
Yeah, rarely sustainable, often not healthy. The focus instead is on smart, doable strategies, like making smart substitutions.
Using low-fat options that taste pretty much the same, like low-fat cottage cheese or skim milk in recipes.
Exactly. The author jokes her husband Elvis doesn't even notice when she uses skim milk.
And apparently, you can actually adapt your taste buds over time.
Yeah, the example was unsweetened applesauce. Tastes bland at first if you're used to the sugary kind, but eventually you might even prefer it.
Makes sense. And swapping higher calorie things for lower coldal ones seems obvious but powerful.
Definitely. And using sugar substitutes, Splenda, equal whatever, can save a ton of calories compared to regular sugar. A single cup of sugar is like 720 calories.
Whoa, that adds up fast. The book also mentions that some fat is necessary, right?
Yeah, it's not about going totally fat-free. Fat helps trigger a hormone, CCK, that signals fullness to your brain.
Ah, okay. So cutting fat too much could backfire.
Could do. Might affect satiety, maybe even cholesterol for some people. Moderation is key.
Gotcha. What about alcohol, the beer belly thing?
It's real. Alcohol has calories, and it varies a lot. Generally, lower alcohol percentage often means fewer calories, but not always. Like Guinness is surprisingly moderate, about 126 calories for 12 ounces. But some craft beers, like porters or Scottish ales, can be way higher, like 200 or even close to 300 calories.
Yikes. What about liquor and wine?
Liquor calories are mostly tied to the proof, the alcohol content. Vodka, whiskey, brandy are around 82 calories per ounce at 100 proof. But sweet liquors, like creme de menthe, pack extra sugar calories, maybe 125 per ounce.
And wine.
Varies too. Sweet dessert wines like Ruby Port are high, maybe 185 calories for 4 ounces. Drier wines like White Zinfandel or Chardonnay are lower, like 80 or 90 calories for the same amount.
So awareness helps. And simple swaps, like using diet soda in mixers instead of regular.
Huge calorie saver. The book calculates that switching from just 4 regular sodas a day to diet could save like 560 calories, enough to potentially lose a pound a week from just that one change.
Wow. Okay, portion control. That sounds crucial, but maybe hard to sustain.
It's definitely a skill you have to practice. The source suggests learning to estimate serving sizes using everyday objects, so you don't have to measure everything forever.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Okay, like 3 ounces of meat or fish is about the size of a deck of cards.
Okay, I can picture that.
A medium piece of fruit, like an apple or orange, tennis ball, half a bagel, hockey puck,
Hockey puck, got it.
about 1.5 ounces of cheese, 2 dominoes, and a cup of something like pasta or rice. Roughly your fist or a baseball.
Those are really helpful visuals. Makes it less abstract.
Yeah. And another tip is serving food directly onto your plate, then put the leftovers away immediately. Out of sight, out of mind. Mostly.
Removes the temptation of the serving bowl just sitting there.
Exactly. And also being aware that calorie density changes with moisture. Like a cup of watermelon has way fewer calories than a cup of dried fruit, even though it takes up the same space.
Right, because of the water content. Makes sense. What about tracking? Keeping a food log?
It can be really effective for some people. The source mentions most of us underestimate how much we eat by about 25% on average.
That much. Wow.
Yeah. So tracking, whether it's calories, fat, carbs, whatever works for you, gives you that objective picture. The book suggests this might be especially helpful for people it calls lions, who maybe want to focus on carb intake.
Okay. Increasing protein is another strategy mentioned. Why protein?
Several reasons. Our typical Western diet is apparently lower in protein, maybe 16%, compared to what, say, a caveman diet might have been like 35% more protein. Protein takes more energy for your body to digest. It doesn't get stored as fat in the same way carbs or fats do, and it helps build muscle.
And muscle burns more calories at rest.
But significantly more, like 35 calories a day per pound of muscle versus only about 2 calories for a pound of fat.
Big difference.
Plus, higher protein intake stimulates another hormone, peptide YY, which helps you feel fuller for longer.
Lots of benefits there. Then there's the simple, but maybe not easy strategy, considering just eliminating sweets.
Yeah, it's presented as an option.
Yeah.
It's tough up front, obviously, but it does simplify choices. No tracking needed for that category. And it ties into that idea that it takes about 30 days to really form a new habit, if you can get through that initial period.
Maybe it sticks. What about when you eat? Meal timing.
The book touches on that. Eating 3 meals a day can provide structure, simplify choices. For actual weight loss, one person mentioned, Elaine V., found success eating just 2 meals a day, like breakfast and lunch, or lunch and dinner.
Interesting. What about grazing? Eating small amounts all day?
That can work to prevent getting overly hungry, but you have to be really careful that the choices are low calorie. It requires more constant vigilance, maybe.
So again, it comes back to finding what fits your hunger patterns and lifestyle.
Exactly. And how you eat matters too. Eating slowly, mindfully.
We tend to eat fast in the US, don't we? Compared to Europe, maybe.
Yeah, and if you eat too quickly, you can easily eat more than you need before your body's fullness signals even kick in. It takes about 20 minutes for those signals to reach the brain.
So slow down and avoid distracted eating.
Definitely. Eating while watching TV, working, driving. You don't enjoy the food as much, and you tend to eat more without realizing it.
Okay, loading up on fiber. That's always mentioned. Why is it so important?
Soluble fiber, the kind in grains, beans, fruits, veggies, does a few key things. It slows down digestion, helps you feel full longer, partly through that CCK hormone again. It can help absorb cholesterol. It's just generally good for digestion.
Yeah.
Experts recommend about 14 grams for every 1,000 calories you eat.
Which translates to?
Roughly 25 grams a day for women, maybe 30 for men on average. Foods like oatmeal, beans, broccoli, apples, carrots are all good sources.
Got it. Using spices is another tip.
Yeah. Add flavor without calories, lets you cut back on high-fat sauces or gravies. Ethnic recipes are often great for this, lots of flavor, potentially lower in calories.
Just got to watch additions like nuts or seeds, maybe. Those can add up.
Right. Be mindful of those calorie-dense additions.
Using filler foods like low-calorie, high-volume stuff to feel fuller. Makes sense.
Yep. And not skipping breakfast. Studies suggest skipping it can lead to eating more later on.
And the whole clean your plate thing.
Yeah. Gotta unlearn that if it's ingrained.
Mhm.
The source cited a survey saying 69% of Americans eat everything on their plate.
Wow. So serve less to start with.
Good strategy. Avoid waste, avoid overeating.
And finally, managing weekends. That sounds like a potential minefield for maintenance.
It really can be. The average person apparently eats an extra 115 calories per day on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Just on those 3 days.
Yeah, which adds up to potentially 5 pounds gained over a year just from weekend drift.
So you got to maintain good habits then too. Maybe combine family time with a walk or cook healthy meals together.
Exactly. And avoid that yo-yo dieting cycle, which the source warns can mess with your metabolism over time. Consistency is key.
Okay, that's a lot on the food side. The other huge piece is obviously moving your body. Exercise.
Right. And the benefits go way beyond just weight. The U.S. Surgeon General's list is extensive.
Preventing heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, colon cancer.
Fighting depression and stress, building strong bones, muscles, joints.
Helping older adults stay mobile, preventing back pain, osteoporosis. It covers a lot.
And the source adds more. Like, exercise can literally add years to your life, potentially up to 4 years. Even just a 30-minute walk daily could add 1.5 years.
That's significant. And it saves money.
Apparently, yeah. Around $2,200 a year on healthcare costs,
Yeah.
just for doing 90 minutes of activity a week.
Wow. Lower breast cancer risk, fewer colds for older women who exercise. The benefits just keep stacking up.
They really do. It's pretty compelling.
So what types of exercise does the book talk about? Strength training comes up.
Yeah, that's about progressively overloading your muscles, using weights or resistance bands. It mentions using heavier weights with fewer reps helps build endurance and, importantly, maintains muscle mass when you're dieting, which stops your metabolism from slowing down too much.
And lighter weights with more reps.
That tends to build strength and lean muscle, which boosts your resting metabolic rate, how many calories you burn just sitting around.
So both have value. And you don't necessarily need a gym.
Nope. The author talks about using dumbbells at home, sometimes just while watching TV, making it fit into her life.
Then there's aerobic exercise.
Yep.
That's more about cardio, right?
Exactly. Improving how your body uses oxygen, burning calories during the activity, building endurance, strengthening your heart and lungs. The source mentions calculating your target heart rate zone based on age to make sure you're working effectively.
And the benefits there.
Things like better bone density, more good HDL cholesterol, handling heat better, more hemoglobin, better resistance to colds, plus that endorphin release, the runner's high kind of feeling, emotional lift, and muscle relaxation.
What kind of activities? Running, treadmill?
Yeah, rollerblading, dancing tap, swing square, ballroom, taking fitness classes, even just yard work counts.
Mm.
The source actually lists it as a calorie-burning activity.
Good to know. What about circuit or interval training?
That's presented as a really efficient way to combine both strength and cardio. You basically alternate short bursts, like 30 seconds of a strength exercise, then 30 seconds of aerobic activity, then move to the next station.
Keeps it interesting.
Yeah, and it's noted as being particularly good for women, helping with weight loss without necessarily building a lot of bulk. And you can totally set up a circuit at home.
The source gets into some specific exercises the author does too, right?
Mm-hmm. She mentioned swapping out 50 traditional sit-ups for 15 reps with an ab roller, finding it more effective.
Okay. Push-ups.
Yep. Basic push-ups, work chest, shoulders, triceps. She explains the difference between doing them on your knees, sometimes called girly push-ups, versus on your toes, manly push-ups. The toe version is harder, partly due to strength, but also center of gravity. She actually worked her way up to doing 25 push-ups on her toes.
Impressive. Any variations?
Tap push-ups are mentioned, where you tap your opposite wrist when you're in the raised position. Adds a little coordination challenge.
What about pull-ups or chin-ups? Those seem tough, especially for women.
They are, and the book highlights them as important because upper body strength can be a weaker area for women. Pull-ups use an overhand grip, working the upper back and forearms. Chin-ups use an underhand grip, bringing the biceps in more, and the author found those easier.
Does she do them?
Yeah, there's a cute anecdote about her trying them on a walk with Elvis, surprising herself, and then getting a chin-up bar as a gift. She aims for 4 or 5 reps, several times a week.
That's great. Squats are mentioned too.
Oh, yeah, called the best exercise for a shapely bottom. Works your quads, hamstrings, calves, glutes. Lots of variations too, like one-legged squats, pistols, or just holding weights.
And calf raises.
Done on a step so you can drop your heel below parallel. Works both the upper and lower calf muscles. The author jokes they help prevent cankles.
Okay, so you have all these exercise options. Planning seems key.
Absolutely. Don't just vaguely say, I'll exercise this week.
Yeah.
Be specific. What activity, what time, what day. Writing it down, maybe planning the week ahead on Sunday, really helps you stay on track and avoid that, oh, well, didn't get to it, frustration.
Morning versus afternoon workouts. Does it matter?
The book suggests morning workouts are good for getting it done, maybe boosting metabolism early. Afternoon workouts might be when your body is physiologically primed for peak performance. But ultimately, the key insight is finding what works for you. Like the example of Janice V., who lost 60 pounds exercising late at night, even though that goes against typical advice.
It fit her life. That personalization again.
Exactly. And finding what fits your personality. Some people love this structure of gyms or classes or martial arts. Others, like Louise that you mentioned in the book, actually feel demotivated exercising around other people and prefer doing it alone.
So know thyself. What about an exercise buddy?
Can be a huge motivator.
Yeah.
Provides accountability. The author mentions working out with her daughter, Vicky, was really helpful.
And just building activity into daily life.
Yeah, little things add up. Taking the stairs, parking further away, retrieving the ping pong balls yourself instead of making the kids do it, finding movement opportunities.
Making it enjoyable seems critical too, especially for stuff like treadmill workouts that can get boring.
Totally. Vary the routine intervals, incline changes. Use distractions, TV, music, audiobooks, podcasts. Exercise with a buddy if you can. Position it near a window with a view.
The source even says working out to music can make you go longer, like 11% longer on average.
Apparently so. Anything to make it less of a chore and more something you look forward to or at least tolerate better.
Creating an exercise budget, what's that?
Assigning points to different activities based on effort or duration, and setting a weekly points goal. It gamifies it a bit, helps with motivation, and logging the points helps you be more accurate about how much you've actually done instead of just estimating, which we tend to overestimate.
Good point. And tracking progress.
Yeah.
Not just the scale.
Right,
Yeah.
especially if you're strength training and building muscle, the scale might not budge or even go up, which can be discouraging. Using a pedometer is suggested as a great motivator. Aiming for that 10,000 steps a day goal.
Does it work?
A study cited found pedometer users walked an extra 7 miles a week, on average, and lowered their BMI slightly. It's simple, objective feedback.
Okay, so we've covered food, we've covered exercise, but putting it all together, that involves habits, mindset, right, and sticking with that personalization theme.
Exactly. The source really emphasizes consistency and resilience. It's never too late to start, and no effort is too small. Don't just give up completely if you slip up. Like stopping halfway through a bag of Oreos is better than finishing the whole bag.
Okay, damage control.
Yeah. Or having a diet soda with your Big Mac, not ideal, but maybe better than throwing in the towel entirely for the day or week. Something is always better than nothing.
A 5-minute walk is better than the couch. 10 minutes of light weights is better than 0 minutes.
Precisely. And be gentle with yourself when you're getting back on track after a lapse.
A key habit seems to be knowing your weaknesses, identifying your personal temptations.
Late night snacking, a sweet tooth, social situations. Figure out what trips you up and then make a plan for it.
Like what kind of plan?
Could be allowing a small planned treat. Eating a bit less earlier in the day if you know you have an event later. Having low-cal or sugar-free swaps on hand. using those pre-portioned 90 or 100-calorie packs for control.
Being proactive, not just reactive.
Exactly. Serving habits also come up again, serving food directly onto plates, putting leftovers away immediately. Simple, but reduces temptation.
The author also shares her experience with pre-party eating.
Yeah, she found that eating a healthy meal before a party didn't actually stop her from eating the party food anyway.
So it didn't work for her.
Nope. She finds it more effective to just save up some calories beforehand and then make conscious choices at the party. Again, what works for her?
Exercise as an outlet for stress. That's mentioned too.
Yeah, using it to manage frustration, stress, even excitement. It physically lowers stress hormones. And the source notes an animal study suggesting that eating under stress can cause weight gain even if the calorie intake is the same. So finding non-food ways to cope is vital.
Stay away from the kitchen when you're stressed.
Good advice. Staying hydrated is another fundamental. Drinking enough water, at least 64 ounces, 8 glasses a day, helps combat fluid retention, which can show up as weight on the scale.
And the source even calculates that drinking ice-cold water burns a few extra calories.
Yeah, something like 70 calories a day if you drink 64 ounces of ice water, just because your body has to expend energy warming it up. It's not huge, but it's something.
Plus, water is good for digestion, skin, it's an appetite suppressant, lots of benefits.
Definitely. Then there's a cooler concept. That sounds intriguing.
It's a memorable anecdote. A woman the author knew literally put all her food for the entire day into a physical cooler each morning.
And she only ate from that cooler.
Yep. The point isn't necessarily that everyone needs a cooler, but the principle behind it. Plan your day's food in advance and stick to the plan. Helps avoid impulsive, less healthy choices.
Makes sense. Like packing a lunch instead of grabbing takeout.
Exactly. Weighing yourself.
Yeah.
Daily. Weekly. What's the advice?
It's presented as a personal choice. The author weighs herself daily and makes small adjustments if she sees the number creep up over a very small range. But she acknowledges that if those daily fluctuations are upsetting or discouraging, then maybe weekly weigh-ins are better. The key is not letting this scale derail you.
Don't let it become an obsession or a source of negativity.
Right. So how do you pull all these ideas together? The source actually encourages you to create your own personal plan. It provides a worksheet framework appendix in the book with sections to fill out.
Like what kind of sections?
Things like listing your specific motivators, identifying your common lame excuses so you can counter them, planning how you'll resist temptation, setting your ideal weight. It also has sections for identifying with certain animal types. The author uses gorilla, koala, deer, lion, rabbit. These are symbols she uses throughout the book for different tendencies, though the exact definitions aren't detailed in the excerpts we looked at.
Okay, symbolic categories.
And then outlining your chosen eating strategies, your exercise program, and adding your own unique personal tips. It's a template for self-discovery.
And the book gives examples of how other people did this, to show it's not just one way.
Yeah, brief examples. Like Raymond V. used Nutrisystem to lose weight, then maintained just by watching portions and not taking seconds. Vicky M., the author's daughter, is described as very vigilant due to family history. She plans meticulously, uses low-kill products, builds activity into her day, drinks water, washes portions.
So very structured.
Mm-hmm. And Elaine V., who we mentioned earlier, had to unlearn that clean your plate habit from childhood and used a 2 meals a day approach for weight loss.
It really shows the diversity. Different strategies for different people.
Exactly. They're not prescriptions, just illustrations of how people piece together their own system that works.
So we've taken a pretty deep dive into living the thin life here. Explored this non-expert's very practical, very personal take on keeping weight off for good.
Yeah, from figuring out your real personal motivations and understanding the risks to getting that objective baseline.
We're experimenting with all those eating strategies, substitutions, portions, timing, fiber, mindfulness.
Finding exercise you actually like or at least tolerate and can stick with.
Managing those inevitable temptations by planning ahead, building habits. The constant theme is finding what works uniquely, specifically for you.
Right. The author's whole approach, it seems, isn't about just giving you rules to follow blindly. It's more about empowering you to become your own expert, using these ideas, these strategies, as like a toolkit to build a system that fits your life, your personality.
It's about progress, isn't it? Not perfection. Knowing your weak spots so you can plan around them.
And remembering that even small efforts count. Something is better than nothing.
So thinking about all this, if creating your own personalized system really is the key to making it stick long term, and we've just unpacked a whole menu of ideas from this one source. Was maybe just one small strategy, one little experiment from this deep dive that you listening could try out this week just to see if it fits into your unique plan for living a healthy life.